friends, this is Mr. Sam, the English teacher and the self-improvement coach. I'm so happy again to resume what we started with last time. And I hope that you applied some sentences to your writings we discussed last time together, the simple sentence and the compound sentence. I'd like just to warm you up with some brief descriptions about the difference between the simple sentence and the compound sentence before we set the ball rolling here. The simple sentence, remember all the time, that has only a subject and predicate. It doesn't require any conjunctions to get added to that simple structure. We have only a subject and predicate. We don't have two sentences. We don't have conjunctions such as and, or, because, after, before, when, and so on. And the compound sentence, remember that we have two independent clauses, two complete thoughts joined by one of these coordinating conjunctions, and, or, but, so. And remember to know and understand the relationship between the first and the second independent clause to make sure that the conjunction that is used in the middle is proper enough. And don't forget, please, to add a comma all the time before the conjunction when you join two complete thoughts together. Today, I think that it's better just to turn off the lights so that you can see this board more beautifully. Today, we're going to discuss the difference between the complex sentence and the compound complex sentence. As you see, the complex sentence, we have two parts. The first one is called dependent clause, and the other part is an independent clause. Now, the dependent clause always has a conjunction such as when, after, before, because, and so on. What does that mean, dependent clause? Dependent clause, the name itself suggests that it depends on the independent clause. You cannot keep it alone here. Can we say in English, when you practice English and then you stop talking? It doesn't make any sense. So when you practice English, okay, what will happen? What happens? You boost your confidence. So here we have a dependent clause and here we have an independent clause. So when you join the two clauses together, I mean the dependent clause and the independent clause, you form a complex sentence. After I had finished my homework, I went to school, or I went to the gym. Again, we have two thoughts. The first one is dependent and the other one is an independent clause. So please remember, when you use any of these conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, in the beginning of the sentence, you must use a comma in the middle. But if you use these conjunctions in the middle, don't use any commas. One more time. If you use any of these conjunctions in the very beginning of the sentence, like this example exactly, what should you do in the middle? You must use a comma. But if you use them in the middle, you shouldn't use any commas. Now the compound complex sentence. What is the compound complex sentence? Look at the title itself. We have a compound and we have a complex sentence joined all together. Look at this example. Mark sent me a message. This is what? It's a complete thought, an independent clause. And I replied to his message or to him fast. This is another independent clause. You remember that when we have two independent clauses joined by a conjunction in the middle, what do we call this? Compound. Excellent. It's a compound sentence. And then you complete the rest of the sentence because the message was very important. Now this is what? This is a dependent clause because the message was very important. So as we see, if we analyze the sentence, we can realize that we have two independent clauses, and this is the compound, and one dependent clause, which is the complex, and together all, we have a compound complex sentence. To sum up, my dear friends, I think that you may feel that this lesson is hard, but it's not at all. It's very simple, but as I told you, try to just to take any simple lesson or any a difficult or challenging topic, little by little, step by step. At first, try to understand the simple sentence, then the compound sentence, then after that the compound complex and the complex sentence, and surely after all you'll realize how easy the process is. So remember that the simple sentence we have only one structure without any conjunctions, the compound sentence when you have two complete thoughts joined by a conjunction in the middle, and then you have a complex sentence when you have a dependent clause and then an independent clause joined by any of these conjunctions such as when, after, before, because, and so on. And finally we have the compound complex sentence when you have two complete thoughts and one incomplete thought, or when you have more than two or three maybe independent clauses and one or two dependent clauses. And you have just to know that the compound complex sentence always used when you have a full understanding of the previous sentences. The simple, the compound, the complex, and then after that, easily you can form and structure the compound complex sentences. And remember, my dear friends all over the world, that if you want to improve your writing skill, even your speaking skill, you have to make sure that your grammar is strong enough and concrete enough, especially when you want to write. Because when you talk, actually the most important thing, especially for native speakers, is just to convey a clear message. Even if your grammar is very poor, it doesn't matter. But when you write, the whole story is totally different. You should make sure that your grammar is very strong. So hopefully you have understood the 4 different kinds of sentences, and you can apply them very wonderfully and very greatly to your writing as soon as possible. And remember that if you don't use it, you will lose it. And practice all the time with love, with passion, with enthusiasm, and with all kinds of positivity. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.